The biggest thing is obviously the channel. You know, there's about, I mean, you can, not deep water sea channels, ports are not a dime a dozen. They're just not. You know, they're regionally located, they're internationally known, and you know, historically, all the great cities of the world started off as a seaport in some form or fashion. So we're on our way to become one of the greatest cities in the world. And the issue there is draft. I mean, that's about everything. That's what the customer wants to know. How deep are you? How big a vessel can I come in with? Well, right now, our current draft, as you enter offshore into the port through the jetties at South Padre Island and Boca Chica, it's 44-foot draft. The Brownsville the ship channel, and it's a man-made 17-mile-long channel, it is a 42-foot draft, and then the turning basin is about 36 and a half. However, we are in the process now of deepening the ship channel to 54-foot as you approach it, 52-foot through the Brownsville ship channel. And so that has been very significant for us. And in this country, doing that is not something that is easily done. It takes careers, man. And it takes having to deal with a Corps of Engineers. We love those guys, we have to work with them, but they can't do anything quickly. In our case, it took us, just to do the feasibility study, it took us like 8.5 years. Just to get to the point where we got the first dollar to do this project took us 15 years. But we did it fast. Corpus Christi, which everybody knows about Corpus and how quickly they're growing, they were authorized to deepen their channel in 1986. It took them 29 years before they got the first federal dollar. So the system in this country just doesn't work. It's not efficient. You know, you can't guarantee large industry certainty that I need to have my facility, if I'm going to be in a seaport, you know, operational, because I need to load my first vessel on this and this day. Well, unfortunately, the way the system is in this country, it's hard to do. We did something that is uniquely different. It's not really different, it's just that it's different for the way traditionally these projects are done. Our project is being funded through a private-public model. In other words, the biggest investor, which in the current model is the federal government, typically these projects are 75% federal and 25% non-federal. Well, we couldn't wait. So our deal is the biggest investor in making our project happen is a private partner, and that's Rio Grande LNG. They're actually going to fund about 63% of the entire cost. What does that do? It makes the rest of it feasible for a port like Brownsville and of our size in a community like us, where we can then fund the remaining piece. So we're really excited about that. Our project is actually underway. The first element of it, of getting there, is underway. You probably will not see dredging occurring until sometime next year, because the initial effort is preparing all of the disposal sites ready to where you're going to put the material when you start dredging. So we have started the project. We started it, in fact, in February. It'll probably be completed towards the end of 2027. And it'll be a significant effort. I mean, that is, you know, getting above 50 feet is a significant effort. What does that mean? It means to our customer like Ternium, that's coming in with 55,000 tons of steel, wants to come in with 85,000 tons of steel. It will mean growing with them. It'll mean the same thing with our liquid cargo customers that are coming with larger vessels. They don't want to bring in, they want to bring in 500,000 barrels. Well, they'll be able to do that. More importantly, it also helps us attract industry. And just the announcement when we did that we were going to do the ship channel, and right now, in this country and really everywhere else in the world, the flavor of the day is green energy. And it's really green fuels. So I think every port of any depth has got 1, 2, or 3, or 4, quote, hydrogen projects underway. And what for? Green energy, more importantly, ammonia. And so by announcing that we were going deeper, we've got about 3 projects on the way as well, dealing with large-scale green energy production. And most of that is for foreign export. So if we didn't have that announcement with the ship channel, then some of our customers might be looking for other places to go, or some of these new opportunities that we're dealing with, including the LNGs, might have had to go elsewhere. So we're really excited about that. A little bit about our tonnages. Last year we moved about 15.2 million tons of metric tons of cargo. And you can see a lot of that, we've grown over the years. I saw a statistic yesterday. I was in Galveston meeting with the Corps of Engineers on our deepening project, and they announced that how they keep metrics in this country for everybody in the industry is tons moved. And they keep track of 150 ports throughout the nation. And they told us yesterday, wow, you guys had a great 2021. Well, we haven't seen the numbers because it takes them so long to post them. In 2020, we were at 66 in the nation of 150 ports of where we fall. And we had moved about 8.1 million tons. No, take it back. 6.8 million tons. Now, that's just waterborne. That's all they measure. And it's all about tonnage. Obviously we measure non-waterborne and everything else. But in 2021, they said, what did you guys do? What do you mean? He says, we went from 66 to 55. We grew 30% in tonnage on waterborne cargo, more than any other port in the state of Texas from 2020 to 2021. Well, that is important because you need to get up to that 50 range, because the way the Corps funds maintenance and so forth, you have to be considered, not that ports aren't important, but some are more important than others, if you will. Once you reach that 10 million tons, then you don't have to battle for the scraps for maintenance of keeping your channel maintained. But I'll tell you this, there's a big difference even in the top 10 between number 1 and number 10. Houston's the number 1 port in the country in terms of tonnage. And they actually went down 2 or 3% from the prior year. And they're about 260 million tons. But if you go to number 10, they may be at 110 million tons. So there is a big difference. But the fact of the matter for us is that we grew 11 places from 66 to 55, and we had a 30% increase in tonnage from 20 to 21. For us, that's a big deal. And you know what? We're on record again in 2023 to exceed our numbers from 2022. A little bit. Last year we had 72,616 loaded rail car moves. We're the largest rail customer here in the region. Whether it's to BNSF, or whether it's to Union Pacific, or whether it's to, and I'm going to have a trouble getting used to not saying KCSN. Canada, or Canada, Kansas, Pacific, whatever it's going to be called now. And again, and this year, we're actually on track to do over 90,000 loaded rail car moves. Our railroad has incrementally grown over the last 4 years, 20% every year in rail car movements. In March of this year, we had never moved more than, I think our record monthly move of loaded rail cars was 6,600. In March of this year, we moved 8,600. So that is another area. And for us, what's exciting about it more than anything is this is a current customer that we're working with, and all of our customers at the port are growing, that's driving this trend. This isn't the new projects that are on the books that are coming on. This is our existing customers. We had, like I said, almost 440,000 truck movements in the port last year. We had a little over 1,700 vessel calls. And we had 2.5 million metric tons of commodities moving by pipeline. Again, it speaks to the logistics that we have and that we offer shippers. Our foreign trade zone. There's 194 foreign trade zones in the United States. We're number 66. But more importantly, we've always been either first, second, or third for the value of exported commodities. Not as a whole, but for the value of exported commodities. Well, for the last 3 years, we have been number 2 in the nation for the value of exported commodities. And until recently, it used to be BMW that was at the top of the list. BMW is worth a lot of money to you, so they were usually who we competed with. Well, Sabine Pass overtook them because LNG started getting produced, and I guess they have a customer who operates it as a foreign trade zone. So they became the number 1 exporter under the foreign trade zone program in the country, but we're still up there. And even though that last year we moved about $5.2 billion, now we have about 10 or 11 users of the foreign trade zone. This doesn't include all the slab that we move for ternium or all of this. Is only those that take advantage of the foreign trade zone program. Well, I think the numbers for 2022 are coming out, and we're going to get close to 8 billion tons for the value of foreign exports. And I'm hoping that we'll make it to number 1. Now, we're not so bad on the import side either. We're in the top 20 on imports. And there, in 2021, we did $4.5 billion of value in terms of imports through the foreign trade zone. And again, where are we? We're on the border. What do? We support cross-border trade. And so a lot of this is because we land commodities that come in from foreign countries here, and then we turn around and export them to another foreign country. And where is that? Well, that's Mexico. So this is why this is so critical to us.